See who all's around. Get this right. Oh yeah. A little bit better. How you doing there, Mr. Peterman? I had somebody on the forum that's supposed to check it out and post a link to it here, but we'll see. People trying to get in the building, probably? Might be. Yeah. I'll show you when we get around the corner here. See the stairs right there? You can go up that way. You see the middle stairs? Go up there, go to the left, and cut over across the top and down on all the front steps. If you go up these front steps, go to the left, you can cut over across the top and come out on the front steps. Yep. Got the yellow vest out. Got the yellow vests in attendance. We gotta go this way if we're going. Morning, guys. A little loud out here, so it's gonna take a little bit. You're up steps, alright, sweet. I gotta go check my gun here. I gotta go through the gun check. I'm down by the gun check here.
Must be the YouTube channel.
You got her.
I met you in the bathroom.
We're fired up now.
What's your YouTube channel?
Black Cat Outdoors.
Blackout?
Black Cat Outdoors.
You outdoorsy?
Last year. I can't remember.
I was here last year.
Yeah. I'm Mike, by the way.
Rob.
PAFOA.
Yeah.
Mike Let's 456.
Oh yeah, I met you.
Yeah, it was last
I've met you before.
Rick.
Rick.
Mike, how you doing?
Andy.
Rob.
Andy. Nice to meet you.
All right, I gotta go through the check here. Somebody, who's going in? Do you have to check or not?
I gotta check that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're taking those too.
Yeah, you gotta check pocket knives too.
No knives.
We'll slide in behind these gentlemen.
For me?
Should be all I got today.
Yeah.
I figure I'm safe. I didn't do everything.
I'll flip the camera around.
All right, does everybody have their
I need the forms. I did not print one out, so I need a form. Thank you very
I gotta
much.
check that, right?
Yeah, are you checking a firearm?
No,
He's just
Is
got
he,
the
is he
knife.
with you?
just,
Yeah,
I
can
just
you throw
got-
it in?
You want to throw it on your form? We'll put it all
Sure.
in one bin.
Do I have to
so
put two
you guys-
knives on there? Because I have a pocket knife
Yeah,
too.
put two,
Okay,
put two knives.
thanks,
All
bud.
right, well, let me walk out here and fill her out real quick. Oh, I need a pen. Shit.
Yeah, oh, I got some pencil.
That'll work. Whichever. Slide you guys here. Set everybody down for a second while I fill out a gun check.
The blonde one.
There we go.
She just put this whole thing about, oh, well, Kevin, when people incite violence and all. I responded, hey, I'm like, who ever incited violence on this page? Like, nobody. Ever.
Yeah, no.
You know?
Right.
And I'm like, and then she just shuts up. She won't respond again, right?
I can't stand
So her and other local liberals tried to take over the soapbox. What, did you ever hear of Ricky Weeks? I took one of our managers, one of our supervisors. What's her name? She's now. She went into Doylestown. Now she's like some apothecary or something. But Judy. It was a young debate. Like
Judy, right? Judy Reese.
Yeah.
Rice. Yeah.
She was part of the whole thing that we showed up
Yeah,
for with
exactly.
the
Girl.
I brushed her on the debate there. She just blocks me, ends it. I think she got Kevin to take the debate.
Hey,
down.
good morning, everybody.
Then they started
I'm gonna
having
do that.
Kevin.
If I
And Kevin was
click
like,
off
"We need
that.
rules. We can't do it." And
Oh,
he
then
was
that's
gonna start doing
then
what they did.
Rachel and
Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah. Did you have to pay it?
you should probably put anything electronic metal.
I don't think you need to write down the knives, do you? Do you have knives?
Yes,
Yeah.
just because you make
Just
sure
how many you have.
get back what you,
Okay, so where do you want it next
in
to?
the additional information.
Oh, okay.
And to make sure when I give you something, like if it
Yeah.
falls out of the bin, oh shit, what am I supposed to give you back?
Exactly. 2 spare mags, 2 pocket knives.
Yeah. You're gonna fill out the bottom also.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a bad day when we have X spares.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Make.
Yeah, but it kind of looks like I'm trying to say something that
You have your form filled out.
maybe,
I don't want to drop your camera here. Phone.
Sorry about that. When you get it started before I got in there.
Okay, here's your holstered weapon. Next bin.
Bravo 6.
Even with paddles, it's a pain in the butt. I try and get some kind of holster that's easy to do.
Taking those little,
Haven't found one yet.
taking those things off makes it a little easier. But
Yeah.
you got that one down there still. But
Yeah. When you wear a gun belt, it latches right down around it.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. See you guys in a few hours. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, how you doing? Getting through the gun check.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I'm John.
Hi, nice to meet you.
How you doing? Dick Larson.
Hey,
Johnny
Smarter
Carter
than
on the
everybody.
site. Nice to
Well,
meet
we're
you.
on a live stream right now, so
Cool.
it was fired up right now. So we gotta go get in line.
all right.
You guys checking stuff in or not?
I don't know if I want to check it and go in and wait in the line or if I just want to stay outside.
There's a bunch of guys, Jixers though. Mr. Jixer from down in Harrisburg.
Uh,
Pittsburgh.
No, I don't.
Little guy with a real long beard that was riding with me. He's out front. There's quite a few people out front.
All right. Well, we might hang out front. If we decide to come in, we'll just come over here and check it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, I just did it. It takes a couple minutes. All right, I better go get in line so I can get in
Yeah,
there
it's a
before it
long
starts.
line.
Yeah, I know. There we had a squib load sighting. Another YouTuber. I wonder if it's better to go out front. This is all going through the security check. There's a line to go through security. Ugh. I knew we should have got here earlier.
I hate this that box. Hold out the way.
This is ridiculous.
Hold out the way.
I'm sure I got rid of it. What's everybody doing out there today? Waiting on me to go live. Hey, up there's where we live. Ah, okay, cool, Rich. Yep. These messages from people now.
I did find something that was working. Got a search that number.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You can share that over there, Rich. Get it going on both. He should be back on. He should be walking up here from where he parked now. I had to take the time to go through the security check-in, or the firearms check-in. See how the audio is here. Hopefully it's not getting drowned out.
Oh no, I'm just calling it. Yeah. You send it to
Kind of like this better little chest rig for
Yeah.
It does, but it's hard to get a picture of everything. Alright, sweet. I'm hoping you can hear the speakers. That's the whole idea. It's a ridiculously long line.
When you're investing,
Alright, no Midnight's on his way here. We just left breakfast a while ago. So he's totally
Where's the mag?
all kind of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, that guy. That dude in the overall.
oh, we was just in the front of the line now. Oh, bro, this is bad.
Things all excited for me. Shit. It's not like you can't do anything.
You're supposed to not here to talk to strangers today, Shane. I am a stranger. Tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, I got
Oh. Well, it's moving quicker than I thought it would. Hopefully we get in there before the speakers start. I get around the time. Oh, that's right. You guys are going to have to ride through the metal detector. tell you the city captain police station.
Why am I not?
You got it.
Grandma wants a carbo ice cream.
Oh, the speed of government.
She would never. No, that's what I thought that was weird. She actually cut it out.
Nice look up at the top of the comment at least. It was a cool building. I don't know if they're getting quicker. They do have security out there.
Now, you know those days when the hair
Scott, I was thinking about leaving you here. And I was going to go around. These kids, the kids.
No, it's going to be a bunch of stuff in the pocket.
Yeah.
That's what takes for
We're not doing
I set it off.
on the next couple of weekends. Maybe we can do the crab thing.
Why don't we go to the
Metal from an accident.
I've played some of that.
Yeah. No, that'll set it.
You're the one that added that.
Oh, there's one.
No, not at all. They're not here. They're just it's like a almost like a field trip.
What's going on, guys?
Light work, money. No. Jackie and Cindy are going to go down. We're just going to pack it up and then Jim and these guys. She's just moving literally across the street into the sorority. So. I got nothing.
Still trying to get in.
This person asked her for her to stay at the apartment. I think we paid $3,900.
Oh, who else texting me?
I get it. Meal plan.
Oh,
No, the meal plan
slowly
is
moving in.
1,000 and up.
What's going on now? Are you going to the chat? Yeah, it's right. If you go that way, you'll see on the left, like right past where there's an entrance to underground garage. There's a door right there. That's where you gotta go. Yep. Nope, just take the holster and everything off, and then they fill out a paper and they rip the bottom half off and give it to you. Come back and give them bottom half of the paper. All right, I'll be there. You should be able to track me down.
Gentlemen, I will renew your good. Well, I'm like,
you don't know what I give
it is for him. I'm not, nothing's high.
I won like 2 months ago. Or not even.
Yeah, you can do it. And you saw the pictures of me. Oh boy.
Well, at least the kids are going fast.
Yeah.
I don't. There's a news report.
Trying to get in here.
My boss called off the meeting this morning, so I didn't miss anything anyway. He just got back from vacation. It's Ireland. Are they gonna get? He's over there like he's big into soccer, so he traveled a lot and he goes like soccer.
Member, so I go over there.
You know what? Go ahead. Brody died.
Good morning, girls. Trying to get in the building here. I know there's quite a bit of people there. Hopefully not. Right up here, so we shouldn't have a problem. The school group going in, so it'll probably shouldn't take them long to get kids through. Usually it doesn't take this long, so that's a good sign. Usually it's not nearly this long. That's a good sign. Getting through.
How you guys doing?
Good, how are you this morning? Getting pretty crowded in there already? I tried to limit the amount of crap I carry in my pockets today anyway. I usually have more than that what I have. Most of it's camera gear and stuff. I'll be in here shortly. You guys might have to take a ride on the belt.
Bad place.
anything out of your pockets, folks, put it into the bowl. Just walk in the bag, put it in your bag, and just put the bag on the belt.
Never had those things before.
It crunches like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like I had to park all the way over there on State Street.
Yeah.
It sucked crunches.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'd be a hike on crutches.
Thank you.
You have a purse, put everything in your purse. Your cell phone, your keys, your change. Put your boyfriend, put his stuff in there, put all the cell phone. If you have a watch, put your
Everything out of your pockets.
Go through, so that's off the alarm.
Everything?
I think that's it. I need to send my YouTube subscribers through this.
Okay, folks, everything out of your pockets, put it into a bowl, or if you have a purse, you put it in your purse. This thing is the item onto the conveyor belt.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Not I was going to try.
Can I have my dog bowl, please?
Yeah.
Show me real quick.
Reattach my microphone here and we'll be good to go. Off this way. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed being scanned. Now they're going, you will be out again. You just got scanned. Get around to the front here. This way to rally. Hopefully I can get a nice spot where I can get some audio. I don't know if the guys out front are going to try and broadcast it, so I'm going to have fun. See what's going on.
That's what your tools are.
There goes the comments. Here we go. Good morning, John Z. Yeah, I already had to get shook down this morning. Sounds like they're just starting. Try and get some out of here.
Felt that we needed a special office to pay attention to violence against women. Why are we seeing so many infringements on women's rights to protect themselves? And why not prevent them from becoming one of these statistics? What I want to say is stop putting an agenda in front of a woman's life. Rendering women defenseless does not protect us. You know, women are really taking charge and becoming their own protectors. And you know, in the last 5 years, women have become the fastest growing segment of gun ownership in America. And a lot of guns. No one can have just one. They're like black shoes. So right now, too, we have a movement in America that tens of thousands of women are participating in, and it's called #NotMe. And it's where women are just taking back their rights and showing that they have the right to self-defense against sexual assault. It's a huge movement. I'm really proud to say that I'm a part of that. You know, Lieutenant Colonel, or Colonel Jeff Cooper just stated, the purpose of the pistol is to stop a fight that somebody else started. So I just want to say that it's indefensible for someone to say you're for women's rights, but you're against gun rights. You know, my pro-choice is, it's my body, my right to protect it with a gun. That's my pro-choice. You know, in just a few short years, I've taught over 700 women how to safely use a handgun, and every single student who has come out has said, I want to do this for self-defense, or I want to be able to take care of my children. You know what? They are moms who demand gun rights, and I'm happy to give it to them. You know, guns are not the cause of violence. Violent people are the cause of violence. I'm against all types of violence. I'm against singling out gun violence as being worse than any other kind of violence. I'm against criminals having guns, and I'm against the rampant failure to enforce the current gun laws. And I'm really against being treated like a criminal because I own a gun. We all know that criminals don't follow laws and responsible gun owners do, and we know that not a single law is going to stop the criminal mind. In fact, it's just going to make things easier for them because the rest of us become softer targets. You know, none of us wants anybody to be murdered. None of us wants anybody to be raped. None of us wants any schools to be shot up. We need to work together on solutions addressing violence without infringing on the rights of the responsible gun owners. You know, the Second Amendment is a reflection of a natural human right of self-protection, and the Constitution guarantees us these personal freedoms, and it also limits the power of the government. And the government is also required to protect those rights. So lawmakers, hear me now. Don't legislate us out of the ability to protect ourselves. Don't make good people helpless because laws aren't going to make bad people harmless. I encourage everyone to promote responsible gun ownership, and education is a deterrent to crime. Educate, don't legislate. We are 2A proud. In Pennsylvania, stick to your guns. It's your life, protect it.
Thank you, Ms. Kellyanne Pigeon. Next is Representative Stephanie Borowitz.
It's such an honor to stand here before you today. Thank you, Representative Metcalf, for entrusting me to speak. And I'm standing not in front of just Americans, but American patriots today. Can you guys stay with us here every day? I think it would make our job a lot easier if we had patriots surrounding us every day. Can you guys just be here every day? Men and women have been fighting for freedom since the beginning, from Moses to William Wallace, to the Pilgrims to George Washington, and we've been given the longest standing free land and been blessed with the longest standing free land than any other people. And we will not let that fall on our watch. A lot of times we hear from the socialists who are trying to destroy this country the phrase a well-regulated militia as a way to push gun control. But let me tell you a little story. My grandfather, way back when in the Revolutionary War, fought in that militia in the Battle of Shallow Ford, and was outnumbered by Tory loyalists to the Redcoats 2-1, and took down and won that battle, and we went on to win that war, and we overcame the greatest superpower of our time. And we stood up against a tyrannical government when the odds were against us. And that was and is what the Second Amendment is for. And anyone who tells you any differently is just hell-bent on destroying the rights and liberties of the Second Amendment and our liberties in this nation. Let me tell you a story. My dad sent me a video, and I'm going to end with this, a few months ago when I was being sworn in, and it was of Ronald Reagan speaking at an inauguration. And he talked about a man named Martin Treptow, and he was a World War I soldier, and he died. And on his body was found these words, and it said, "My pledge." And it said, "America must win this war, and make no mistake about it, we're in a battle for this nation. Therefore, I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure, I will fight cheerfully, and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended upon me alone." So I urge you today, stand up, speak out, be heard, be engaged. We here know what is at stake. We will not let socialists dictate to us what our country was and is. We're here today to tell them what our country was and always will be. We are a free land, a republic, and one nation under God.
Thank you, Representative Stephanie Horowitz. Appreciate you taking time. I know she has another meeting that she has to run off to, otherwise she'd like to be here and listen to the rest of the event and participate also. Next is Mr. Joshua Prince. He is one of the premier Second Amendment attorneys in the U.S. Josh has represented more than 3,000 individual clients with varied firearms issues under federal and state law, and he's waging the battle in the courtroom on our behalf. Thank you, Joshua.
It's a distinct honor and privilege to be here before all of you patriots today. Now, Representative Metcalf asked me to keep my comments to about 4 to 5 minutes, but you all know once you give a microphone to an attorney, all bets are off. But I am going to try and keep my comments short. I'm going to discuss some of the successes we've seen over the past year in relation to the Second Amendment here in Pennsylvania, as well as a couple of the threats that we need to be aware of in the upcoming year. This past year, we saw, for the first time in the history of the Commonwealth, the Pennsylvania State Police have a financial judgment issued against it and affirmed by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court because it kept erroneous criminal records on an individual and denied that person his Second Amendment rights. The PA Supreme Court affirmed in this context that the Pennsylvania State Police was not entitled to sovereign immunity, and that was a monumental victory for our cause. We saw a $500,000 settlement with the city of Philadelphia in relation to its disclosure of confidential license to carry firearms applicant information through the use of unenveloped postcards. And I can tell all of you today that on Friday, an order was issued publishing the fact that there is in Monroe County a new class action that has been certified, including 17,000 individuals whose information was disclosed through the use of unenveloped postcards. Now, we have a bunch of other victories as well at the federal level. In fact, this past year, we saw out of the Western District of Pennsylvania a decision issued in Franklin versus Sessions that held that a Pennsylvania Mental Health and Procedures Act Section 302 commitment does not trigger a federal prohibition. Unfortunately, the U.S. government has contended that even given that decision, that it still does. And I can tell all of you that I expect in the next couple weeks that a decision is likely going to be issued from the Eastern District of Pennsylvania formally and permanently enjoining the U.S. government from contending that a 302 triggers any type of federal prohibition. We've also seen 2 Second Amendment as-applied challenges successful against the U.S. government. The first was in relation to a DUI conviction that stripped the individual of his rights in perpetuity to keep and bear arms. The other one was in relation to someone who altered a PennDOT window tint exemption form, having been stripped of his right to keep and bear arms for the remainder of his life. And in both occasions, the courts came down and said, no, that is unconstitutional. But there are threats looming. And everyone here should know about the fact that there are 2 proposals in the General Assembly to enact what are called extreme risk protection orders or red flag orders. You boo at that. Wait till you get the real kicker. Both have been submitted by alleged Republicans. Senator Killen and Representative Stevens have submitted the bills in their respective chambers. And I want you to really listen to what one of the bases is for the grant of extreme risk protection order. The recent purchase or attempted purchase of a firearm is the basis for issuing an extreme risk protection order. Think about that. The exercise of a constitutional right is a basis in and of itself for issuance of an extreme risk protection order that will strip the individual of that God-given right. We also have the city of Pittsburgh violating both Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania Constitution and our preemption clause in Section 6120. Thanks to patriots like you, we've been able to initiate several different lawsuits against the city of Pittsburgh, and I want to formally thank Tim Schmidt and USCCA for supporting us and donating to it. So with that, I want to ask all of you, as you go around to your representatives, remind them that Article 1, Section 21 says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be questioned.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua Prince. We have a lot of members, as I said, up behind me, and senators. Senator Bartolotta, I think, has to run now to another activity, so thank you for coming. Senators that plan on being here today or may still be here or might be coming in: Senator Baker, Bartolotta, Brewster, Brooks, Hutchinson. I know I saw Scott behind me. Senator Scott Martin. You're going to hear from Senator Kristen Phillips Hill, Senator Vogel. I know I saw Elder here. Senator Judy Ward. Also members from the House: Representative Knowles, Benninghoff, Bernstein, Cook, Dunbar, Dush, Emmerich, Everett, Fee, Fritz, Gobler, Gillen, Greiner, Grove, Hahn, Hickernell, Irvin, James, Kaufman. I know I saw Rob Kaufman behind me here. Dawn Kiefer, Mark Keller, Representative Fred Keller, Kate Klunk. Representative Jerry Knowles had another event to another committee meeting to go to. Representative Bill Kortz, I know I saw him here. Zach Mako, Dave Maloney, Jim Marshall, I know was out here even early with a lot of folks from his area. Representative Kurt Mazur, I saw Dave Lard, Brett Miller, Eric Nelson, Ted Nesbitt, Tina Pickett, Representative Jeff Pyle, Jack Rader, Kathy Rapp, Harry Reedshaw, Mike Reese is here, he'll be speaking to you. Representative Roy, Rothman Ryan had to leave for the meeting, Frank Ryan, our former Marine Colonel. Representative Stan Saylor, Representative Paul Schemmel, Representative Jesse Topper, Representative Park Wentley, Representative Jeff Whelan, Representative Dave Zimmerman, Representative Justin Welsh, and I think somebody whispered in my ear, Joswiak. I don't usually go for that whispering in the ear, but from Joshua, I'll accept it. Representative Joswiak, thank you for coming today. Thank you, members of the legislature, for being here. It's important to all of us and to all the audience and those that couldn't be here. Our next speaker is Senator Kristen Phillips Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to all the Pennsylvania patriots here today. It is wonderful to see you all.
Kristen Phillips Hill, and I have the great honor of representing more than 250,000 York Countyans here in the state Senate, and I am so incredibly grateful to see this show of support for our Second Amendment. I want to talk to you today about something that's weighed heavy on my heart, and that is that our nation has seen a rise in hatred and bigotry in every corner of our Commonwealth and our nation. And these blatant attacks on our right to worship and our right to choose our religion flies in the face of our founding fathers. Our founders set guiding principles at the state and federal level. Our Commonwealth's Constitution states that all men have a natural and indefensible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own conscience. Our U.S. Constitution, it protects our free speech, our very right to be here today. But unfortunately, our very right to worship is being targeted. No matter your religious beliefs, you should be able to worship without fear. States with some of the strongest gun laws have not prevented attacks. Indeed. Everyone in this rotunda agrees that we need to stand firm against bigotry and hatred. An attack on our freedoms is an attack on all of us. And as proud defenders of the Second Amendment, we know that all too well. Law-abiding citizens made into scapegoats for the acts of the wicked and the evil. The Second Amendment is crystal clear. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Every time there is a tragedy involving firearms, anti-gun advocates hailing from states with some of the strictest gun policies tell law-abiding citizens like us that we need to give up some of our freedom. Let us remember the writings of Thomas Jefferson, who quoted Cesare Beccaria when he wrote, "They disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides, for an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man." They want us to give up our rights that give us the ultimate sense of security. For many of us, a firearm is our security system. Just last week, there were reported break-ins by an individual who kidnapped a young child about an hour south of where we stand here today. He allegedly took a young child, locked her in a wooden box in his house. Fortunately, God bless, she escaped when he went to work. As a mother, my heart sank for that girl and her family, but the individual went on the prowl looking for his next victim just a few nights later. The police have a suspect, but think about the families in that community. How do you protect the ones that you love and you hold dear? Horrible, evil people will stop at nothing to get what they want, whether it's your valuables, your electronics, your peace of mind, your children, or your lives and your freedoms. To all of us in this room, that firearm represents peace of mind. It represents safety. It represents protection from those who seek to do us and our families harm. But we know we must be vigilant. Our Second Amendment rights are just as precious as our First Amendment right to free speech, if not more, because we know that without the Second Amendment, there would not be a first. let our freedoms be infringed here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And that requires us to stand firm against hatred and against bigotry and against anything else that could be used to take away our rights. And that we stand for our Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Constitution, those founding principles and essential documents that have assured our freedom and liberty since the founding of this great nation until today. Stand with me. Let's stand up for our Second Amendment. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. God bless the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the United States of America.
Thank you to Senator Kristen Phillips Hill. She moved to the Senate after the last election cycle. We miss her in the House, but we're glad she's in the Senate. As you can tell, she has a passionate voice for freedom. As you heard from Representative Borowicz, you can see that the members of the legislature share your passion, share your heartfelt concerns, and that's why they're here today speaking to you. Our next speaker is Mr. Eric Pratt, and Eric Pratt is the Executive Director for Gun Owners America. And before Eric comes up, we also have Representative Donna Oberlander with us. But Mr. Pratt's dad, Larry, was here with us for many, many years. I think he probably made 12 of the last, or 11 of the last 13 speaking opportunities that he had here with us, and we appreciated him traveling from Virginia, as I believe Eric also traveled up from Virginia today. So we look forward to hearing Eric. Thank you, Eric, for coming.
Thank you. Harrisburg, this is a great day for liberty. And thank you, Representative Metcalf. You have been a super champion of the Second Amendment all these years. We want to thank you for that. And I want to thank all of you for being here. You are here standing for our freedoms because you know that they are under attack. They're under attack in Washington. They're under attack in Pittsburgh. Heck, here in this state capitol, they're under attack. No more. I tell you what, Gun Owners of America is committed to working together with you to oppose every single compromise of our gun rights. Look, this is important. You guys know our gun rights do not come from government. They do not come from popular opinion. They do not even come from a piece of paper like the Constitution, as good of a document as that is. No, our rights come from God. As our Declaration of Independence says, our rights are endowed to us by our Creator. And that's why they cannot be taken from us. See, that's a game changer. Our rights are not ours to be given away. They can't be restricted by the government, and that's why the Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. That's right. That language doesn't say you can have a background check. Doesn't say that you can have universal background checks, criminalizing private sales. Doesn't say you can impose gun confiscation orders. No, shall not be infringed means just that. Keep your hands off our guns. Now, regarding gun confiscation orders, which is what we call red flags, it's a shame to hear that there are rhinos in this Capitol that are pushing those. That is heinous. These laws sanction the confiscation of firearms, and they do it without any due process whatsoever, no trial by jury, no having your attorney present, no facing your accuser, just boom. A judge takes the word of somebody who may have a vendetta against you, and you lose your guns. Talk about the movie Minority Report on steroids, right? We're going to take your guns from you because you might, and I repeat, might use it in the future to commit a crime. So much for being proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for an actual crime committed. I'm sure you've already heard this, but already in the state directly below us, a man has been gunned down because of these gun confiscation orders. Gary Willis, an African-American gentleman, was woken up by a loud knocking on his door at 5:17 in the morning. Now, I don't know about you guys, but usually people aren't expecting pizza deliveries at that hour. So if you're a gun owner and it's still dark outside and you're hearing loud knocking, how do you answer the door? With a gun in hand, exactly right. Well, that's what Gary Willis did, not in a threatening way, but he's dead now as a result of that meeting. You know, and supporters have the gall, supporters of red flags have the gall to say that these laws give us due process. Well, Gary Willis didn't get any due process. And if you do survive the gun confiscation, then you get to pay $10,000 to go before a judge and prove to that judge that they made a mistake in issuing the gun confiscation order. Good luck with that. Look, the government should be tasked with proving that you're guilty, not you being required to prove that you're innocent. Red flag laws, that's right. Red flag laws have been an utter failure wherever they've been tried because guess what? Real bad guys still keep getting guns. But that doesn't matter. For gun control supporters, it's all about putting points on the board. It's all about getting gun control laws passed. But that's where we can make a difference working together. We're going to tell Democrat legislators here, we're going to tell Republican rhinos, no more gun control, not one word. Look, my time is just about up, so I want to leave you with some encouragement. Because the liberal media makes a lot of noise in favor of gun control. But I want to tell you, there are now more states with constitutional carry than there are states with red flag laws. And last year, the number of school districts around the country arming teachers doubled. Our gun rights are quietly moving forward, even though the media is not reporting on it, but working together, we're going to see freedom advance here in Pennsylvania. So be encouraged, folks. This is a good day for liberty. Thank you, and may God continue to bless this country.
Thank you, Mr. Eric Pratt with Gun Owners of America. We appreciate him joining us, and his dad's now in retirement, so we miss Larry, but Eric's a great replacement, speaks the same talk of freedom that his dad did for many years for us here at this microphone. Thank you, Mr. Eric Pratt. We also are joined by Representative Mao and Helm, and we're also joined, as I said, by Representative Mike Reese, who's going to introduce some of our freshman members to you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to start today by thanking each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy lives to come out here to your state capitol and help us defend your God-given rights. Unfortunately, folks, this event is more critical now than ever. Because I don't have to tell you, make no mistake about it, those rights are under attack. Chairman Metcalf gave me one responsibility here this morning, and that's to introduce our newest members of the House Republican Caucus, who stand with you and I in protection of our rights and our freedoms. But before I do that, I want to tell you where I stand on just a few issues. First, I don't believe that any government has any business maintaining or making a list of names of law-abiding citizens who own firearms. Second, I don't believe that any city or other municipal government should be passing their own set of gun laws that would infringe on your constitutional rights. And third, and perhaps most important, I think it's incumbent on all of us to remember that the Constitution was not drafted to tell us what government can do, but rather to tell us what government cannot do. With that said, I want to extend a very sincere thank you to Chairman Metcalf for putting this event on. And now it's my great honor to introduce to you the many new lawmakers here in Harrisburg who are committed to protecting the Second Amendment rights that we all value so much. And we are truly blessed to have a long list. From the 15th District, representing portions of Beaver and Washington counties, Representative Josh Kell. From the 39th District, representing portions of Allegheny and Washington counties, Representative Mike Kuskarik. From the 44th District, representing a portion of Allegheny County, Representative Valerie Gatos. From the 48th District, representing portions of Washington County, Representative Tim O'Neill. From the 68th District, representing portions of Bradford, Potter, and Tioga counties, Representative Clint Owlett. From the 62nd District, representing a portion of Indiana County, Representative Jim Struzzi. From the 71st District, representing portions of Cambria and Somerset counties, Representative Jim Rigby. From the 76th District, representing portions of Center and Clinton counties, Representative Stephanie Borowitz. From the 79th District, representing a portion of Blair County, Representative Lou Schmidt. From the 80th District, representing the other portion of Blair County, Representative Jim Gregory. From the 82nd District, representing portions of Franklin, Juniata, and Mifflin counties, Representative John Hershey. From the 93rd District, representing a portion of York County, Representative Mike Jones. From the 105th District, representing a portion of Dauphin County, Representative Andrew Lewis. From the 193rd District, representing portions of Adams and Cumberland counties, Representative Torrin Ecker. And finally, from the 199th District, representing a portion of Cumberland County, Representative Barb Gleim. Thank you all so much.
Good job, Representative Mike Reese, who's also our secretary for the Republican House members and the Republican caucus. And I thought they should have all run out with their jerseys on now, the way Mike introduced them. Good job, Mike. Good job. Our next speaker is Mr. Maj Toure. He's with Black Guns Matter. He is the founder of that organization. Maj?
So, y'all know how we get there. I gotta get a little bit louder than that. There we go. Okay, real quick. They said I got 3, I'm gonna take 2.5. I'm gonna give you tools, I'm gonna tell you how you've been exposed, and I'm gonna tell you how the other side, the liberal media, is trying to reverse the game for you. Okay? First and foremost, the patriots that are in here right now are in opposition to gun control. Is that correct? The roots of gun control in America are directly aimed to stop patriots of all levels of color, creed, religion, race, ethnicity, and all of that. Is that correct? So this is what I want to say to the liberal media that will pick this up. We're on to you. you would have all of the patriots in here believe that they're racist, when in reality, supporting the policy of disarming women, people of color, poor, working class, hardworking Americans is the most racist ideology that you could ever muster in the history of America. 2 minutes left. We are solutionaries. We present solutions to this problem called socialism. We present solutions to this problem called gun control. We look at the media, the most effective devil in America. Think about it, write it down. We look at this media and we say, and even in this Capitol building, if you are a public servant, if you are a public servant, Rhino, Democrat, actual Republican, Libertarian, whatever, it's a very simple litmus test. If you are in support of the racist policies of gun control, you are no longer fit to serve.
Thank you, Mr. Maj Toure with Black Guns Matter, the Black Guns Matter founder. Next we have Mr. Major, I call him Representative Matt Gobbler.
Good morning, everybody, fellow citizens and freedom-loving patriots. How are you this morning? Thank you. I am truly honored to be surrounded, to be sharing this space with you. To be honest with you, I'm not really quite sure why I'm speaking today, because I know you already get it. I was asked to give a little bit of a perspective on serving. But I look around, I see the Vietnam hats, I see the 8th Infantry Division, I see your flag. How many veterans do we have in here? That's what I I am honored to be with you. I am honored to have been called to serve with a number of hats. But I know that first and foremost, all of us here who have served in any capacity, one way or the other, we want to make this country a better place. We want to serve. In short, we're the good guys. And we want to make sure that we stand up for the rights of the good guys, and that's all what you're here to do today. I want to thank you all so much. I know a prior speaker asked if you could come here every day, but you got lives to live, right? You got plenty of things to do, but I am so glad that you are here today to show the people who serve in this building what the citizens of Pennsylvania really think. And so my message is real short. Thank you for serving. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being the most effective lobbyists that could ever set foot in this building, the citizens and the voters. We're here to stand up for our rights. We're here to stand up for the good guys. Thank you all so much.
Representative Matt Gobbler, and Representative Gobbler is also a major in the Army National Guard and just came off of active duty serving in the Middle East. He just came back home in December, I believe it was. So welcome home. Our next speaker came from a long ways away to join us here. Wisconsin, Mr. Tim Schmidt. Tim is the founder and president of one of America's fastest growing groups of responsibly armed citizens in the nation, the United States Concealed Carry Association. The USCCA represents more than 250,000 people who, like Tim, understand they are the first line of defense for their families and loved ones. Father of 3, started out as a mechanical engineer, now he's laying down the blueprint for more people to see the importance of our Second Amendment. Thank you, Tim, for joining us. We look forward to hearing from you.
Okay.
Representative Metcalf, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm honored to be a part of this, you guys. I mean, what's happening right now is very powerful. And I'm going to share a quote with you, one of my favorite quotes that really underestimates how powerful this is. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. So, it was mentioned before, there are 16 states that have constitutional carry in this country. 16 states. Now, of course, over the last couple of years that all these states have passed constitutional carry, nothing bad has happened. If anything, it's been nothing but good stuff. So I'm going to encourage you, Pennsylvania, and I just heard from Representative Metcalf that a bill will soon be introduced for constitutional carry in Pennsylvania. You guys, get it done. All right, guys, you got to make that happen. So personally, and I'll speak for Representative Metcalf, I think the fact that we have to even have this battle for constitutional carry is ridiculous. Because this thing was settled 227 years ago, right? Yeah. Our founding fathers, guys, our founding fathers understood that the right to self-defense is a natural-born right that comes from God. And free men have the right to guns. And so, guys, get this thing done, all right? So, I talked about the Constitution. I talk about the Founding Fathers. Whenever I even say those words, it gives me goosebumps. I want you to imagine something, all right? I want you to imagine that it's the early 1700s, and you're with your family, and you're fleeing England because you're sick and tired of the tyranny. Now you come over, now you live in Boston. And you're with your family, but you still can't get out from under King George's tyrannical thumb. Picture this. So, you know what happened, right? All the colonists, they got together and they decided we're going to fight for our freedom, and everyone fought, and we know the story, it was a Revolutionary War. But guess what? That's not the way it happened. So let me ask you a question. What percentage of people do you think actually fought? 3%. What do you think? Was it 50%, 60, 70% were willing to fight for their freedom? That's right. That's right. 3%. Very, very small amount of people were willing to fight. Thank goodness for that small group of people. All right. I got another question for you. Why are you here today? I want you to look into your heart and answer that question. Why are you here today? What happened in your life? Maybe it was a powerful family member. Maybe an event happened that caused you to be willing to come down here and stand up for your freedom, your ability to be protectors and defenders of your family and loved one. I really honor that. So my story started about 20 years ago. It was when my first son was born. I'll never forget the feeling in my heart looking down, holding this little guy, and I realized that, my goodness, I'm his first line of defense. I have to figure this out. Now, needless to say, just like a lot of you, there were tons of roadblocks that were thrown in my way in my desire to be that first line of defense. The first roadblock were my friends and family. They're like, Tim, what do you want a gun for? That's just going to get you in trouble. Another roadblock was the state I lived in. 20 years ago in Wisconsin, you couldn't carry concealed. And another roadblock was the guy that worked at the gun shop down the street from me when I went there on a Saturday morning to ask for help, to try to learn about how to be a responsibly armed American. I walk up to the gun counter and he says to me, "What would a guy like you want with a handgun like that?" So needless to say, and I know you all have challenges that we've overcome, but these are some of the reasons that I decided to start the USCCA 17 years ago. And I'm happy to say that what I wanted to start, which was a place, a home for people that were like-minded, responsibly armed citizens could come and who could learn how to effectively conceal their firearms without having to conceal their pride. Now, I'm very proud to say that the USCCA has become that place. More than 250,000 members all across the country. People with stories, just like the story that I shared about my process to become a responsibly armed American, and people with stories just like yours.
Here's a story I want to share with you. A fellow USCCA member, David Jackson. So here's a fella who's the ultimate quintessential responsibly armed American. Carries a gun every single day. Despite the fact that his own family gives him a hard time, his own father would tell him, David, why are you carrying that gun? It's just going to get you in trouble. Well, let me tell you what. In January of 2016, when David walked into a barbershop with his two sons, he was really glad that he carried that gun that day. Shortly after he sat down in the barber chair, two thugs storm in, one with a shotgun, one with a handgun, waving their guns, pointing their guns, demanding money. As David relayed the story to me, he said, Tim, it was as if time stood still. I remember the guy walked up to me and I looked him in the eyes and I said, sir, please don't shoot. My children are here. And by the grace of God, and thank goodness to David's good training and a whole bunch of courage, he was able to use his concealed carry gun, get a shot off, and he shot one of the bad guys. Now the moment that ended, yes. Now the moment that he got that shot up, well guess what? Of course the two thugs fled the barbershop. The attack was over. David Jackson saved the day. And I promise you, just wait, hold on. I promise you that as those two thugs were running down the street, there was one thing in their mind, that they had completely underestimated the power of the responsibly armed American. So that's right, guys. I said the power of the responsibly armed American. You see, because David Jackson knew, all of you guys know, all of the 330,000 members of the USCCA know, that criminals understand one language. And that language is the fear of force. They understand that language. When only 10% of a given community is willing to be their family's first line of defense, well guess what? An amazing thing happens. Powerful deterrent effect happens. Crime goes down, and the people that don't carry the guns, the 90% of the people, they get the same benefit, which is fantastic. Now I understand, I look around this room, I understand that each and every one of you guys are part of that 10%. I know that, I get that. And I applaud you for that, congratulations. But I have a question for you. What are you doing right now to help further this? What stories are you telling to your loved ones and to your family and your friends? Yes, it's important to stand up for our gun rights. Our gun rights don't come from the Constitution, they come from God. But standing up and screaming from my cold dead hands doesn't work as well as sharing your story from your heart. So that's my challenge to you today. So, I look around this room, I look in the eyes and the hearts of each of you guys, and I can tell that each of you have a gift, a very powerful gift. I believe it's a gift from God. You've been given the gift of the heart of a protector. But now with that gift comes tremendous responsibility. And that responsibility, again, is not to scream, but to share your story from your heart, to change people's minds. Then we'll make a difference. So now it's time to fully quote that Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you very much. God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. Tim Schmidt. Don't everybody leave just yet. We're almost done. We still have Ali Hynoski, who's going to sing America the Beautiful to close the rally today. But before she does, thank you to Mr. Tim Schmidt for making the trip, for taking the time, for bringing his crew with him that came today to document what he was doing here and what we've been doing here and what we continue to do and what we'll continue to do, and that's stand up for our freedom, right? So before Ali sings, I wanted to make you aware of this. Now, Mr. Kim Stolfer wanted me to remind everybody that you have teams that will be breaking loose from this and lobbying as citizen lobbyists through the halls today to various legislative offices to let them know you don't want to see any more gun control, but you want to do just what Maj had said. You want them to serve. You want them to represent and defend the Constitution. They took an oath just this year on the 1st of January to uphold and defend when we were sworn in. Defend the Constitution. Stop the game. But part of that defense of the Constitution is in holding elected officials accountable who violate it and violate our laws. Well, today, after this rally, my staff have been instructed to send out this memorandum to my colleagues in the House and would welcome the Senate support of that once we're able to send it over to them in the Senate, because all impeachment starts in the House of Representatives. We have sole authority for initiating impeachment. This is the letter that will go out today. Proposed resolution calling for impeachment of William Peduto, Mayor of Pittsburgh. For misbehavior in office, and the articles of impeachment be exhibited to the Senate. Date will be today's date. I plan to introduce a resolution that calls for the impeachment of Pittsburgh Mayor William Peduto after the Democratic mayor enacted new gun legislation this April that directly contravenes our Constitution. I aver that Mayor William Peduto is guilty of the impeachable offense of violating the Constitution. He willfully, brazenly, violated the law because he doesn't agree with employing the processes that are in place to change it. And we have somebody who's in elected office who grossly abused the very law that he swore to an oath to defend. We cannot let that stand without challenge. I invite you to join me in sponsoring my resolution calling for Mayor Peduto's removal from office and his disqualification to hold any office or trust or profit under this Commonwealth. And in presenting articles of impeachment to the Pennsylvania Senate attaches a copy of the articles of impeachment. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. That's going to my colleagues. I encourage you to encourage them to support this resolution of impeachment. The last time I introduced article of impeachment resolution was for Kathleen Kane. She's now serving time on 9 counts of crime that she committed. Let's get rid of this rogue mayor and stop anybody else from joining him. Now, let's come down out of the adrenaline rush and listen to Ms. Allie Hanoski singing America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you.
Thank you, Allie. We watched her grow up before us for many years now, and she's always done a beautiful job singing, along with Mr. Dave Bray that's joined our lineup the last several years. Thank you to Dave Bray, thank you to Allie, thank you to Mr. Tim Schmidt, and thank you to all of our excellent speakers. What a lineup this year. Thank you to you all for making time to be here. I know I got a message from somebody on Facebook last night saying, oh, if I'd known I would have taken the day off and I would have been there tomorrow. We try and get the word out, and people are willing to take the day off, and many of you have done that, so thank you for being here. Make sure you make the most of your time, as Mr. Tim Schmidt had encouraged you to do. You know, leave here, hit the offices, let them know what you're doing here today, and when you get home, make sure you let your family, friends, neighbors, fellow church members, work colleagues, let folks know that you're a patriot, you're standing up for our country. You need them to too. We need to stop the socialist movement. Let's do it starting today. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
sure, you gotta listen to it.
I started counting, I counted the steps.
Don't you even boo. No booing.
What? You don't want me to just kick down again this year? Did you see the line outside?
I didn't turn it on.
Actually, there's
How was the crowd with Justin and everyone?
They were quit letting me run. There's like 200 people outside the line. 200?
Even going up.
Yeah, they said it's over capacity. Between 150 and 200 people out on the front stretch.
Oh, they're still outside now? Oh, okay. I got in.
Oh, there we go. They're outside. Some will be out here in a little bit if you're hanging around.
Well, I went into the parking garage. I was up on the top floor, up on the roof, and I think I got the last spot.
You going to lunch?
Yeah.
His place?
Yeah.
I'm gonna head out there now.
I'll be out. I'll probably walk around the front there.
James Feeney, they said meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. You want an email?
When you're on John Road, it comes down to a curve that curves to the right. There's a driveway.
Sure now. Here, so you guys, the team leaders, you want to go talk to reps and players about do that. Go to the directory and talk to everybody. I might wander around a little bit and make sure what things are. That's my plan. Usually I end up doing stuff like that. He was here, so I don't know where he is now. He was standing up far from me that morning, so. Thanks a lot. Good, how are you doing? Yeah, we quit letting people in, so we went over to require 1,000 people. Still have people on that.
What he said to me.
Wow.
Don't tap my microphone. What's What are you guys all doing? Is everybody just
Because Ray sometimes the house is closer to the road on the top of the mountain than it is to the jump road. They'll bring you
wants to walk
yeah.
I wonder how long it takes to get back in. I don't think it would be very long.
He's not here.
Put on that front, see what looks like out there now. Yeah, it's right out here. See what the line looks like. Not sure what I gotta go check.
The county home? I didn't see it.
I don't get it off here.
Yeah, these are just cards.
Many people out for you.
That is so diversely. Like
See who all you got outside.
Oh, I should have done like it was. Wait till where's that? Positive? Oh, this is positive.
That's what I thought. What's up, bud?
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Black Cat Outdoors.
Hey, how you
What's
doing?
up, buddy? NEPA Gun Store.
Hey, how
you
are
doing,
you?
buddy?
Good,
All right.
how are you?
How you doing, Walt Davis?
Hey, nice to meet you.
How you doing, Bill?
How you doing?
How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, not bad. I saw the screen. I got pretty close at least, so hopefully everybody can hear what's happening. You guys running the midnight?
We started, so
Okay. Did you get in?
You can come take a picture.
Okay.
We want to register.
I saw him at breakfast and I haven't seen him since, so I wasn't sure where all we ended up at.
Go on this side.
I figured I'd come out front and see who all was still hanging on. It must have been. It was packed in there.
Well, we heard some cheering.
Yeah. It's
Good things being said.
Okay, yeah, everybody.
Yeah, they're super expensive.
He didn't supposed to speak. He was out here.
Yeah, we saw him.
There's a midnight sighting over there with these guys. Now I'll walk over this way. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Look at this over here.
Hey, what's up,
Lord.
jerks? It's not like you're not a United States citizen. We got stuck outside. We got stuck outside.
Yeah, they said they shut it down. Going over capacity.
Mountaineer Marksman.
What is it?
Mountaineer Marksman.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Was it loaded in there? Or
Oh yeah, yeah. They shut it down to like 800, I think, for the rotunda. It was over capacity.
So there's definitely 1,000 people.
Yeah.
It was bigger.
Yeah.
There was
bigger
quite
this year than it was last
Yeah,
year.
sightings all over. Look at all of them.
Got that?
I just asked them. I think Coda Boy made it in. But I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he was out here for a while.
I got in line. I was going to get in line. I decided to walk out with them guys to check the guns. And by the time we got up there, we need to change the logo.
We got everybody hanging out now. When are you heading back out?
Tomorrow. Believe it or not, I'm over 70. This is cold.
There ain't a whole lot going on a Monday night.
And I can't fit in my regular jungle booties. The last time I wore this, somebody said, "That's a Nazi."
I just think it's funny that have somebody
midnight in my camera.
call me young.
I
48 years old.
Really?
I thought I was.
Rich was streaming.
With those
That's
days.
just left my channel.
Yeah, that's what I saw that. Somebody came up and was like, "Show me."
I was in before 9/11. Yes, sir.
I guess Johnny was inside. Johnny Sprague, I think, was inside.
He was standing right next to me.
Oh, I didn't know. He was in my chat. My wife was talking in the chat a little bit.
Yeah,
He's going to go get his gun and then come up over here.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go back through the building. I probably should because I got to meet.
I think he came out through the front.
Where'd Jitzer head to?
He was right.
Right there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's over there. All right.
We have not seen any terrorists at
No?
all. Nothing.
Jixer Center.
Usually don't.
Not
Last year
one.
there was some.
I figured there would have to be a couple, but
Yeah.
nobody knows step on
Here, hold my camera.
Yeah.
Just don't look at the angle, the viewer. I don't want people to have to. Shameless plug. Yeah, it's going on my channel now.
Just don't swear.
Oh, on my channel? Or
Holy fuck. We're trying.
Don't
You're
swear
not.
on my
That's
channel?
that's the problem. We're trying. You're not saying don't swear on mine.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln
Lord.
today. And
The level of profanity goes up depending on how much I drank that evening.
Yep.
Which is always funny when I hop on other people's live stream because you never know what you're going to get.
We had that one a couple months ago. He texted or emailed me or texted me the next day or whatever. He's like, I don't barely even remember being on your show.
Yeah, I passed out. Yeah. I pulled a Scotsman and started chatting at the end of it.
Oh, you wouldn't be the first. I've had about 4 people fall asleep on my
Well, I
show.
didn't
That's
have
how
my
good it is.
camera on, but I know at one point
Kids are passed out the one night. He fucking fell asleep on it one night.
I think I've done that.
You were the first one that fell asleep.
I've done it on yours.
Yeah.
I did it on Sarge. But Sarge didn't know how to turn the cameras on that much. I was lucky.
Yeah, Well, mine was on when you fell asleep. I turned your camera off. You're like,
you're
out.
Domestic,
Yeah,
was
well,
that?
I just
No, I was on the one with Midnight when you did it.
I did it on Rich's
I
channel
did
too.
once. There was Alan's first show. Alan B. Bro's first show that we were all on causing trouble. The next night we were all on it. No, Alan's very first show.
Oh, the one where he put the link down and.
Oh yeah. No, that was blasted. But the next night we were in a lobby chat and it was me and Ghost, Clover, I forget who else, whatever. And I thought, yeah, I'm just gonna lay down and stretch out and chat. Yeah, it lasted about a minute and a half. I was snoring. I was out.
I'd sit in my chair and I kind of get comfortable in my chair, and next thing you know, it's just like my phone's blowing up.
Yeah, the one when you were on with Alan, that guy was hilarious. They turned the camera, like locked the camera on. And
I just called Alan, text message from Alan, text message from myself.
That's funny.
Your neck was like, like dude, somebody.
Yeah, it looked uncomfortable as hell.
I had the worst kink in my neck, man. Worst
Hey,
kink
give
in
him
my
a
neck.
call. He's got to get up.
I was
At
up
least I
for a
didn't have
good,
my camera on when I
was up for a good while. I think it was up for like an hour.
I gotta go find the other people. Tixer I know is not going anywhere because he rode with me. So he's
What'd you
kinda
wind up
stuck.
carrying?
What's that?
What'd you wind up carrying tonight?
I have my 1911 in. I carried a Colt.
You were torn on that
I
one.
gotta go around the other side. No, I'll do that. I'll run around the other side and retrieve it. I don't know if I'm gonna go talk to the reps or not.
Someday.
Mine was standing that.
Someday
My
I'll be
state
in the
rep
guns.
was standing 4 people away from me.
Yeah.
The guy that was standing next to me, he's from up where I am. Tapped me as I say, look over there. I like go over and the state rep was standing like 4 people down from us. So it's kind of pointless to go talk to him. He's already on board. I'd like to go talk to some other ones maybe. We had kind of an after party thing we were supposed to go to.
Oh wait. So are you going? So what's the deal with going inside and talking to reps and stuff? Is that something you're doing?
I don't know if I'm gonna go around yet or not.
Well, I mean, I'm familiar with the term.
I can't. I've done it.
I just we're standing out here and I looked over and one of the guys that comes into the restaurant. Was here. He's a rep, big gun guy. I didn't even know. Yeah. So it's awesome. He's out here talking.
We're getting the nose stuck on snack.
Nice. I'll be posting that. Are we on Facebook?
I am not on Facebook at all.
Yeah.
Sneaking up on me.
That's it.
Hey,
Johnny
Hey, John, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah. Enjoy talking to you. Indeed, man. Awesome. Glad you can make it up. Did you go inside? Yeah. Yep. Went back and treated my gun. Came back over. Yep.
You got it that fast, huh?
I was the first one in there. So.
Oh, okay. Wait, did you get all the knives?
Yeah, I got all the knives. Yep. They didn't lose them. What you carrying? Cool. Very cool. Glock 30 because I'm like
Scottish lobster.
That was my first. Was it?
My first gun.
Nice. It was to replace my first gun, my first handgun, which was a Taurus PT-145. Piece of crap. Broke on me twice. I sent it back there. Oh, I finally got to my FFL, the T2C, the 9mm replaced my 45. So.
Yeah, you guys want to go inside and walk around a little bit? Oh, fuck.
We have to check it.
I ain't checking it in again.
I gotta go check mine out.
What channel are you on?
I'm Johnny Sprague. I don't really have a channel. I just talk to people a lot.
I'm Bob. I go by Mountaineer Marksman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've seen like Gorn Day, Sunday.
Yeah. I love your Gorn stuff. I made some people in church laugh actually. They're like, talking. I'm like, yeah, I just like Gorn. They're like, what?
You say that, and like people don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't know gun porn?
Yeah, gun porn. They're like, oh, there's something wrong with you.
We need to educate
See, the first time I heard it, I was like, is he talking about from Star Trek? Wasn't that the alien on the asteroid or something?
Well, to look better.
No, I wanted you to plow through the crowd.
How was your trip, David? How was your trip? Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Okay, nice.
Pretty straight. Didn't get mixed up until I started getting into like the actual city streets to find the Packerville.
Yeah.
Lanes in Pennsylvania go like for no reason.
Yeah.
So I ended up in the wrong lane a couple times.
Oh, nice. Well, he had 3 hours to me, and then it was 4.5 to here. So, a bit of a hike. What was it, 3.5?
No, it was 4 hours.
Yeah,
4 hours to meet you, and then a little bit more than 4 to get here, I think.
Yeah.
Still 20 people.
Bet new Texicans on there.
Wow, look at that. Thank you. You're the man.
Those were good. That was good.
You're the man.
I did a live stream once where I was talking to people in my car. I got in with the bathrooms and called back. I was like, I'll be back in like 5 minutes. I came back and Ghost Talker was over. I was like, you have 22 people watching you talk down. What the fuck am I doing?
I think I'm a likable guy.
Stinks you couldn't make it in. He stinks you couldn't make it in.
Shoot your ass, man.
And when these guys would check their guns, I was like,
It's more like 25 minutes.
Between inside and there's probably between in there and out here, there's this one eventually.
That was the last one you put out the timing. As soon as you said the closer.
I better walk down.
sorry about that.
Park.
I guess
Yeah, it is.
What was I thinking? So I'm like, here, hold my face.
That's good.
You didn't get a really, you can't even taste the hash flavor.
We went to Speedway. We didn't go to.
It's amazing.
But you know,
All right,
we
see
should stop at
everybody.
Circle K.
I might go live later on, give a recap. So.